Hi everyone. So today we're going to be using the details papers from Nitwits to make a fancy fold card, which is a fan fold. So you've got a nice fan front to the card and space inside then to write a greeting. So it's a nice easy card, just a piece of white cardstock, two of the decorative papers and a topper. Obviously you could add more flowers and things underneath, but I'll just show you the basic construction today. So grab all the items and I'll see you in a second. So to make this card, you'll need your card base for the 5x7. So this is just a 10x7 piece of white cardstock scored down the middle at 5 inches. You'll need 2 decorative papers. So I tried to go for a plainer one. So this is the denim from the details paper kit, and then a coordinating patterned one. So you're going to cut your largest one at 6.5 by 4 3/4, and then the smaller one is 5 3/4 by 4 1/4. And then I've got a piece of scrap cardstock which measures 3 1/4 by 2 1/4. That's going to help as a template for doing a mat and layers. And then I've just got a topper I've cut out as well. So let's start with getting our card base made. So the fan fold is going to be made straight onto this. So I'm going to bring in my scoring tool and move my distress ink out of the way. So I want to start off by marking halfway across the bottom. So half of 7 is 3.5. You could use a pencil here and mark a line and use a scoring tool with a ruler, but I'm going to use my scoreboard. And I also want to know halfway up the sides as well. So we're at 5 inches, so 2.5 and 2.5. So this is the front of the card now with our 3 marks. So halfway there and there, and halfway across the bottom, scored there. So I'm just going to move to my last score line channel, whatever you want to call it. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to line my halfway across the bottom with the 5-inch score line I made to make a regular card blank. And I'm going to score down there. Then I'm going to keep this where it is, and I'm going to tilt it until I get to that halfway mark I did earlier. So I'm making a sort of a sunburst effect. Can you see it? So I've got one score line going from the center up to that corner and up to the halfway point. And I'm just going to mirror that now on this side. So from that center score line to the center of the base, and again from halfway down the side to the bottom. Put my scoreboard to the side. So that's all our scoring done for the base. So what we're going to do now is take the longest lines, I'm going to fold them back. And then with those 2 smaller ones, we're going to bring them back towards the front. Like so. So when they're folded together and brought forward, you can see we've got our fan shape. Okay. So it's really nothing complicated. Whatever shape card would work, you just need to work out halfway across the base and halfway up each side. So if you wanted to make a 6x6, 8x8, really easy to do. Okay, so let's get to the decoration. So we're going to start by doing our darker blue, which is going to be that tiny little border. So I've got my ruler, and this is awkward because it goes the other way. So this is 6.5, so I'm going to mark halfway. So half of 6.5 is 3 1/4. So right there. In fact, I'm going to use my scoreboard. Only reason is I've left my pencil upstairs and I'm not going to go and fetch it. So I've got a score, and I'll use the same technique as I did earlier. From the corner to the centre. So let's just cut them. You can use your trimmer if you want. So we've just gone from those corners to the bottom, just like we did with the card blank. So this triangle is going to go there, and then the 2 offcuts are going to go underneath down into that corner, like that. So before I do that, I'm just going to take some of my black soot, not too much, just taking off that white corner, adding a little shadow. It just adds some depth to my card. So we've got our 3 panels ready, so we can do exactly the same with our smaller piece. So this piece is 5 3/4 long, so half of that will be, make sure it's the right way up. So there's the butterfly, so that's the bottom. So I've got the bottom at the top here, is 2 7/8. So there's my 3, so I'm just going back to there, taking it to the edge. And on that edge. And again, just cut. So we've got our 3 triangles again, and hopefully now these will fit onto those 3 pieces. So again, I'm just going to bring my distress ink. It'll just highlight the decorative paper. I say it just gives it takes away that white edge. You know, this part is totally optional. You don't need to do it, especially if you're making a lot of these and you're in a rush. You can really cut down on the time just by cutting this bit out, but I think it's worth it. It gives you a bit of a better finish. Yeah. So I've got my glue now. Let's just glue these decorative bits. Together. And the last triangle. And let's bring our card base in. Let's start with this big triangle. Make sure you get into the corners with triangles, otherwise you'll find they will lift. Get all those corners pressed down. Open our card. And if you close your card, you'll be able to use that just as a guide. Now, if you find when you put your cards up, you feel like it's tilting forward, so all you need to do is just trim off a little bit of the card base off the back, and it'll just tip your card back a little bit. But I think it's okay this time. Just close it. And there we have it. We have the inside of the card. So you've got room to write your greeting. You could even stamp your sentiment in there if you wanted to. Now, some people just leave these bits plain as they are, but I think I want to add some decoration onto them. So I'm going to pick out my decorative paper from the inside, so this patterned one. And this is where your scrap piece, which is 3 1/4 by 2 1/4, will come in to play. Because what we want to do is cut it in half, like so, so that we've got 2 triangles. Now, I can't do that straight on my decorative paper because one of the triangles will be correct there, but this one wouldn't unless I have to flip it over. So you've got double-sided paper, but it's not often you get the same paper on both sides. So this way is just an easier way of doing that. So again, I've forgotten my pencil. What I would do now is just trace around it. But because I've forgotten my pencil, what I'm going to do is just cut 2 of them out. 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. And I think actually because can I get another, yeah, 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. So I've gone that way that time. Hopefully I'll have the opposite one this time. Yeah. Right. So as I said, what you would normally do is just trace one, flip it over and get another one, which is the other orientation. So I've got one for there, and I've got one for there. Excellent. So again, just distress the edges. And glue them onto the insides. Open it up. So it just goes, and you can go up to that score line with this, because we're not too worried about a border there because it's all going to be hidden. So when you fold your card now, okay, we've got our decorative papers there. And it's up to you, you can leave it like that, but I like to pin it down a little bit. So I'm just going to get some of my score tape. So nice strong tape. And we're going to put it up in this corner. And that's just going to hold it shut a little bit for us. That's holding it there, and then flip it over, and we're just going to put some more tape on the inside flap. Make sure you don't go up too high, because if the tape's there, it's going to close everything flat, which we don't want either. We want some dimension. And there you have your card base all complete. So now I'm just going to bring in my sentiment. So I could just stick my sentiment straight down, but because I've still got that blue offcut here, I'm going to just fussy cut around it. So this is just one of the Nitwits toppers again, just resized to something that would fit onto my card. And then I just fussy cut it. And again, just distress the edges. And I think this looks good if you add some foam tape, just to give it some dimension, and it just lifts off the card again. My card back in. Just be careful with your topper that you have got a bit of a distance there, so that you're not putting the tape over there, because you have got some depth there. So there we go, a nice easy fan fold card which stands up like so. Just using 2 different decorative papers and a topper. Now the great thing is, the 2 pieces I cut out are big enough to make another one just in the opposite orientation. So I got plenty of paper when I printed out 2 of my decorative papers to make 2 of the cards. So thanks for watching, and if you do have a go, please share your make on Paper Crafting with Paul on Facebook. and give me a like and click that subscribe button so you can be informed when any new videos appear. So thanks for watching and see you again soon.